Governor Little set the tone for the state of Idaho during his State of the State address. He touched on areas that he thinks we need to improve on as a state. Two of those, workforce development and education. So Governor Little pitched an idea in his big address, sending graduating high schoolers. He wants them to get grant money to help get them into fields Idaho needs, well, the most, like nursing, welders, technology experts, those kind of things, just to name a few. The idea is called Idaho Launch, and it's a shot at a signature piece of legislation for Little and lawmakers that are working through the process to pass it. But in recent weeks, it's kind of run across a couple of bumps in the road. Skeptics not sure it's a good idea. Today, a bill was pitched to address concerns to fix Idaho Launch in a way where, well, it can hopefully pass legislative approval, according to its supporters. Joe Paris been following this Idaho Launch since its conception. Okay, so what issues do the critics see with this, and what are they hoping to fix?
Well, Brian, we've heard from Republican lawmakers who say that they appreciate what the idea is trying to do, but they just don't think it's the government's idea or the government's role to really do something like this with this program. So the original plan for Idaho Launch was to send $8,500 to eligible students to help them pay for education or workforce training to get them into career fields that Idaho badly needs. Well, pretty quickly after the idea was pitched, critics spoke out saying that there weren't enough parameters on the program, and it was a handout to send kids to a broad range of programs, and it needed to show that the money would actually end up helping Idaho. So today, a trailer bill, as it's called, it was debated and voted on in committee to add more restrictions, sideboards, to the Idaho Launch idea. And so those new ideas go as follow. The new sideboards enhance legislative oversight of the Idaho Launch program. It's going to heighten the program's accountability, and it makes sure that lawmakers are getting annual reports on the program to ensure the funding for it is correct, and that the Workforce Development Council, who's in charge of the program, that they're operating well and maintaining it. And the Workforce Development Council will be the main group watching the idea. Number two, it ensures that there's greater skin in the game here, and it also makes sure that the maximum grant is $8,000 per student, and that is down from $8,500. So now, this is a cheaper program than it was pitched earlier in the session. Three, it further limits the use of Idaho Launch funds to just tuition and fees. No room and board or school supplies or other spending options, just for tuition and fees. And finally, the sideboards limit the launch program to just community colleges and workforce training providers, universities, and other educational opportunities were previously a part of this. So there were critics who said that universities, they shouldn't get a handout from Idaho Launch, and the focus really needs to be on workforce training, not just general education. I do want to mention, though, there's a carve-out specifically in the trailer bill to include the nursing program at Lewis Clark State College. So that is a part of it, and it was highlighted in committee specifically. Now, those community colleges, though, across Idaho, major player in the idea. So how do they feel about the edits to Idaho Launch? Gordon Jones, the president of the College of Western Idaho, he told the committee that this is a great idea. He says it addresses a major factor preventing workforce development in Idaho, the affordability for training of those careers.
Concern about, is this really where I can step forward and see that result? We believe at the community college level that is. This bill lowers that barrier and incentivizes individuals to step into careers, most notably police, fire, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, nurses, mechatronics, light robotics, horticulture, you go on, and those are just a few of the over 100 programs.
So some critics have spoken out asking, is this the role of government?
Going to tech school or some sort of post-secondary education institution is a consumer decision. They have products for sale. Product is called an education. If you wish to obtain that education, you have to pay for it. I don't see it as being within government's charter to fund that type of consumer decision. Would the dollars do good? No argument here. They would. Well, a lot of things would do good, but they fall outside the charter of government.
Senator Sen Guthrie pushed back, saying that Idaho, they give a lot of money to schools already. Why stop there?
Why do we do that? Because we want our next generations to be educated and be prepared to meet the needs of a workforce. So why would we invest those billions of dollars in infrastructure and buildings and facilities and staff and professors and teachers, and then all of a sudden the product that where it matters the most, which is turning out that student that has the skills and the aptitude and the ability to contribute to the workforce and drive Idaho's economy forward, why would we quit there?
So after
already committed
2 votes, the committee advanced the bill to the full Senate for consideration. It passed 5-4. This is a trailer bill that we're talking about, but what about the main Idaho Launch bill? Well, that's currently sitting in the 14th order in the Idaho Senate, which means it's waiting amendments that the group could make. So did this trailer bill change that? We'll have to wait and see how the Idaho Senate does kind of take a look at this. They have 10 days to get this done in terms of their goal to get out of the session.
Sure.
March 24th, 10 days away from now. I know that Idaho Launch is something the governor's office and leadership for the Republicans were working very closely on and very hard on. I'd be surprised if something like this didn't pass, but we're going to have to keep an eye on it. They don't need to pass something like that to go home.
All right, well, the countdown continues. All right, thanks, Joe.